Today, I'll reveal 8 signs she's emotionally cheating, even if she's pretending everything's fine. What makes emotional cheating so insidious is the performance aspect. She's actively working to maintain the appearance of normalcy, to convince you that nothing has changed, that your concerns are unfounded. This deliberate deception makes emotional cheating harder to detect than physical affairs, but the signs are there for those who know where to look. Before we start, hit subscribe and drop a comment if you've ever sensed something was wrong, even when she swore everything was okay. What you learn today might confirm what your gut already knew. Stay until the end because I'll reveal what these signs mean collectively and what you should do when someone is emotionally cheating while pretending everything is normal. Sign 1. She's emotionally present but mentally absent. She looks at you when you talk, maintaining what seems like appropriate eye contact. She nods at the right moments, showing she's following the conversation. She smiles when expected, laughs at jokes, responds to questions. On the surface, everything appears normal, like she's engaged and present, but her eyes are distant, lacking the genuine connection that used to be there. There's a hollowness behind the performance, a sense that she's going through the motions without actually being there. Conversations feel hollow, rehearsed, or distracted, like she's reading lines from a script rather than genuinely communicating with you. She's saying the right things, making appropriate responses, but there's no depth, no real emotional exchange happening. You finish a conversation and realize nothing meaningful was actually shared, no real connection was made. It's the conversational equivalent of empty calories, filling time without providing any substance. Emotional cheaters maintain surface-level engagement to appear normal, but their emotional focus has shifted elsewhere. This performance requires effort and consciousness. She's deliberately showing you what she thinks you need to see to keep you from questioning what's really happening. She's managing your perception, creating the illusion of presence, while her actual attention and emotional energy are directed elsewhere. Her body stays connected, she's physically there in the shared space, participating in the routines of the relationship. But her attention doesn't stay with you. You can feel it in the quality of her listening, in how quickly she forgets things you've told her, in how little she engages with the details of your life. Her mind is elsewhere, occupied with someone else, and the performance of presence can't fully hide that absence. The fake normalcy is part of her cover, a deliberate strategy to avoid confrontation before she's ready to face the truth. As long as she can maintain the appearance that everything is fine, she can continue the emotional affair without having to make difficult choices or have uncomfortable conversations. The performance buys her time to explore the new connection while keeping you from discovering what's really happening. Sign 2. She's suddenly happier, but you're not the reason. You notice she's glowing again in a way she hasn't in months or maybe years. More smiles light up her face, her mood is noticeably better, there's a lighter energy about her that makes her seem more alive. She's laughing more, stress seems to roll off her easier, she has enthusiasm and joy that had been missing. At first, you might feel relieved, thinking whatever was bothering her has passed, that things are improving. But when you pay closer attention, you realize it's not tied to you, your plans together, or anything happening in your relationship. She's not happier because of quality time you've spent together, or because things have improved between you. She's not glowing after your conversations, or energized by your dates. The happiness exists independent of you, triggered by sources you can't identify or influence. Emotional cheating creates emotional highs through new validation, attention, and excitement from someone else. There's a neurochemical component to this. New romantic connections flood the brain with dopamine, creating genuine feelings of euphoria and energy. She's experiencing that chemical high, that intoxicating feeling of being seen and desired by someone new, and it shows in her overall demeanor. She's emotionally fulfilled elsewhere, but pretending her happiness comes from self-care or a good day at work. When you ask what's making her so happy, she has vague explanations that sound plausible but don't quite add up. She's feeling better because she's taking better care of herself. Work has been really rewarding lately. She's just in a better place mentally. These explanations are designed to satisfy your curiosity without revealing the real source of her improved mood. The glow you once inspired, the happiness that used to be connected to your presence and attention, now belongs to someone else's messages. Watch when the happiness spikes. Is it after she checks her phone? After she comes home from certain places? After interactions you're not part of? The timing reveals the true source, even when her words try to hide it. Sign 3. She shares her personal life with someone else. She no longer confides in you about her bad day, the frustrating interaction with a coworker, the stress she's feeling about family issues, or the fears that keep her up at night. You used to be the person she processed life with, the one she turned to when she needed to vent or seek perspective. Now that role has been vacated in your relationship. When you ask about her day, you get surface-level summaries that reveal nothing meaningful about her internal experience. But she tells someone else. There's a friend she talks to who really understands, a colleague who's easy to open up to, or someone who just listens, in a way she implies you don't. She's sharing the vulnerable parts of herself, the worries and dreams and struggles that create emotional intimacy, but you're no longer the recipient of that sharing. Women bond emotionally through vulnerability. This is fundamental to female psychology. Sharing fears, insecurities, dreams, and struggles creates emotional closeness and attachment. Once she starts opening up to another man in ways she no longer opens up to you, the emotional line has already been crossed. That vulnerability, that trust, that willingness to be seen in her raw emotional state belongs to him now. When you're no longer her emotional outlet, you're no longer her emotional priority. The person who receives our vulnerability becomes the person we feel closest to. By redirecting that vulnerability to another man, she's essentially transferring her primary emotional attachment away from you. You've been demoted from confidant to casual acquaintance, someone she shares space with but not her inner world. Pay attention to how you find out about important things happening in her life. Are you the first to know, or do you discover them later, almost by accident? Does she process decisions with you, or do you learn about her conclusions after they've already been made? The answers reveal whether you're still her emotional partner or whether that role has been given to someone else. Sign 4. She defends her friend. With emotion. You bring up the man she's been messaging frequently or hanging around with more than seems necessary, and her reaction is immediate and intense. She instantly gets defensive, her tone shifting from casual to aggressive. You're being jealous. He's just a friend, stop being paranoid. Why can't I have friends without you making it weird? The defensiveness is disproportionate to your simple observation or question. Defensiveness equals emotional protection. When someone reacts with strong emotion to defend a relationship, it reveals how much that relationship matters to them. If it were truly insignificant, she could address your concerns calmly, offer reassurance, perhaps even adjust boundaries to make you more comfortable. The fact that she can't do that she immediately jumps to protect the connection, tells you it's important enough to fight for. She's not just defending him as a person or defending her right to have friendships. She's defending her attachment to him, the emotional bond that's formed, the connection that's become significant to her. Admitting there's anything inappropriate about the relationship would require her to limit or end it, and she's not willing to do that because losing that connection would be emotionally painful. The stronger her reaction, the deeper the emotional bond already is. Minor attachments can be discussed rationally. Deep emotional investments trigger protective responses. If she's getting angry, turning the situation around to make you the problem, refusing to even discuss concerns, That intensity of reaction reveals that the relationship with him has become central to her emotional well-being in a way that threatens your relationship. Watch for deflection tactics too. Instead of addressing the actual concern about her relationship with him, she attacks your character. You're insecure, jealous, controlling, paranoid. By making you the problem, she avoids having to examine her own behavior or the nature of her attachment to him. This deflection is both a defense mechanism and a manipulation tactic designed to shut down the conversation before truth can be revealed. Sign 5. Her phone habits change overnight. Suddenly, seemingly without any triggering event or explanation, her phone is always face down when she sets it on tables or counters. Notifications that used to pop up on the lock screen are now turned off or hidden. Passwords that didn't exist or were shared are now changed and kept private. She checks messages in private spaces, taking her phone to the bathroom or stepping into another room to respond to texts. When you ask about the sudden change in phone behavior, she has explanations ready. It's just work stuff. I'm tired of notifications interrupting us. I just want more privacy. These explanations sound reasonable on the surface, but they don't account for the sudden shift from complete transparency to complete secrecy. Emotional cheaters hide their communication not because it's sexually explicit or because anything physical has happened. They hide it because it's emotionally revealing. The messages themselves might not contain anything that could be called evidence of cheating, but the tone, the frequency, the emotional intimacy, the inside jokes, the constant communication would all reveal the depth of the connection. The content is harmless in that nothing inappropriate has been said explicitly, but the context reveals an emotional affair. The connection might be innocent by her definition, but the guilt drives secrecy. On some level, she knows that what she's doing crosses boundaries. She knows that if you saw how often they communicate, how much emotional energy she invests in conversations with him, how much of her day revolves around waiting for his messages, you would rightfully have a problem with it. So she hides it, not because it's wrong by some objective standard, but because she knows it would hurt you and reveal her emotional infidelity. She's protecting emotional intimacy, not physical evidence. The secrecy isn't about hiding sex or physical encounters. It's about hiding the emotional affair, the bond that's formed through constant communication and emotional sharing. Her phone has become the gateway to her secret emotional world, and protecting that phone means protecting the relationship that exists within it. Sign 6. She acts nicer than usual. She becomes sweeter in her interactions with you, more helpful around the house, more affectionate in small gestures. She makes your coffee in the morning without being asked. She compliments you more frequently. She shows interest in your day, asks thoughtful questions, seems more attentive. You might think the relationship is improving, that whatever distance existed before is closing, that she's recommitting to the partnership. But it's emotional guilt management, not genuine reconnection. The kindness isn't flowing from love or renewed commitment. It's flowing from guilt about the emotional affair and an unconscious need to balance the scales, to compensate for the betrayal by being extra good in visible ways. Guilt triggers overcompensation. When people feel guilty about something they're doing wrong, they often try to offset that guilt by being especially good in other areas. By being nicer to you, she's managing her own conscience, making herself feel less bad about the emotional energy she's investing elsewhere. The kindness is for her benefit more than yours, a way to maintain her self-image as a good partner while engaging in behavior that contradicts that image. She's not being kind out of love. She's being kind to balance her conscience. If the sweetness were genuine, it would be accompanied by other signs of emotional reconnection. Deeper conversations, renewed physical intimacy, future planning, emotional presence. But the kindness exists in isolation, a performance of care that isn't backed by genuine emotional investment. It's the illusion of peace that keeps you from noticing the truth. By acting sweeter and more attentive, she's managing your perception, keeping you from looking too closely at what's really happening. As long as things seem fine, as long as she's being nice, you're less likely to question or investigate. The performance of normalcy protects the emotional affair from discovery. Sign 7. She pulls away from physical intimacy. Without conflict. There's no fight or dramatic tension, no specific incident that caused a rift, but the physical affection fades quietly and consistently. Fewer hugs when you come home or leave. Kisses become perfunctory pecks rather than genuine expressions of affection. Eye contact diminishes, with her gaze sliding away from yours during conversations. Cuddling on the couch stops happening. Physical intimacy becomes rare and mechanical when it does occur. Emotional intimacy with another man reduces her need for connection at home. When a woman is getting her emotional needs met elsewhere, receiving validation, attention, and emotional support from another man, her need for those things from you diminishes. The emotional connection is what drives physical intimacy for most women. And when that emotional connection has been redirected elsewhere, physical desire naturally follows. She doesn't crave closeness from you because she's emotionally satisfied elsewhere. The touch, affection, and physical proximity that used to feel necessary now feel unnecessary or even burdensome. She's getting her emotional fulfillment from him, and that fulfillment translates into reduced need for physical connection with you. The absence of tension doesn't mean comfort or contentment. It means quiet emotional replacement. In healthy relationships, ebbs and flows in physical intimacy are usually accompanied by communication about what's happening. But when emotional cheating is occurring, the physical withdrawal happens silently, because acknowledging it would require explaining the real reason. Her emotional energy is invested elsewhere. This sign is particularly painful because physical distance in the absence of conflict feels confusing. If she were angry, or if you'd had a fight, the physical distance would make sense. But when everything seems fine on the surface, and she's even being nicer than usual, the physical withdrawal doesn't compute unless you understand that emotional affairs create this exact pattern. She's being kind to manage guilt while pulling away physically because her emotional intimacy has been redirected. Sign 8, she keeps saying everything's fine, even when it's not. This is the ultimate cover phrase of an emotionally cheating woman. You feel the distance, the shift in energy, the silence where conversation used to be. You sense something fundamental has changed, that she's not fully present anymore, that the connection between you has weakened. But when you ask if something is wrong, if she's okay, if there's anything you need to talk about, she insists nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. I'm fine. We're fine. You feel the truth in your gut, you see the signs with your eyes, but she contradicts your perception with her words. This creates cognitive dissonance, making you question your own instincts. Maybe you are overreacting. Maybe you are being paranoid. Maybe everything really is fine and you're imagining problems that don't exist. Emotional cheaters fear confrontation because it might expose their emotional bond with someone else. As long as she can keep you from questioning too deeply, she can continue the emotional affair without consequence. Confrontation would require her to either lie explicitly, admit what's happening, or end the emotional affair, and she's not ready for any of those outcomes. So she uses everything's fine as a shield against your questions and concerns. So they fake calm, avoid deep talks, and create emotional numbness to maintain control over the narrative. Real conversations about the relationship, about feelings, about connection, would reveal the truth. So she keeps interactions surface level, deflects attempts at deeper discussion, maintains a facade of contentment that prevents you from looking closer at what's actually happening. When everything's fine becomes her favorite sentence, everything isn't. The constant reassurance, The repeated insistence that nothing is wrong, despite all evidence to the contrary, is itself evidence of the problem. People in genuinely healthy relationships don't need to constantly assert that everything is fine because the fineness is obvious and felt by both people. When fine becomes a mantra, it's a cover story, not reality.